phone call between the president and the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos. Sources telling CNN that the president at one point wasn't happy earlier today about a report he saw regarding the online retail.
Sound of a phone buzzing. A narrator begins speaking over a quiet background score, reflective but tense. What happens when the world's most powerful economy starts turning inward, and the world's largest retailer finds itself on the defensive? You're about to find out. It began with a phone call, a private conversation between President Donald Trump and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. The topic? A new report that caught the president's eye, one that suggested Amazon was considering listing the actual cost of tariffs on its product pages. Sources close to the administration said the president wasn't just upset, he was furious. Why? Because this wasn't just about e-commerce. This was about optics, politics, and the silent fallout of a trade war being waged behind digital storefronts. There were no press releases, no statements, just a wave of missing orders, canceled partnerships, and blocked shipments. And then confirmation. Amazon was pulling back, not from a product line, not from a campaign, from the U.S. economy itself. This wasn't a strategy shift, it was an emergency response. And the cost? An estimated $13 billion and rising. For a company that built its empire on global scale and operational speed, the tariffs didn't just add costs, they shattered the machine. Let's unpack what's really happening. Under President Trump's renewed trade agenda, the U.S. rolled out aggressive new tariffs. A 10% universal import tariff. A 25% tariff on goods from neighbors like Mexico and Canada. And most staggering of all, a 145% effective tariff on imports from China. Let that sink in. 145%. Not just electronics, clothing, auto parts, kitchenware, toys. The list is long. Now pause for a moment. What happens when a company built on razor-thin margins faces triple-digit import duties? Can even Amazon survive that? In April, Amazon didn't wait for the damage to show up. It canceled millions in vendor orders across Asia. Confirmed shipments were frozen. Contracts were terminated. Why? Because Amazon knew what was coming. The administration's April tariff expansion targeted over 180 countries, and the company hit the brakes hard. Fulfillment plans scrapped. Supplier payments delayed. Procurement paused. Amazon sounded the alarm to its sellers. Stock up now while you still can. For a moment, it worked. Warehouses filled. Prices held steady. But by June, the cushion was gone. New shipments were pouring in under new rules, new costs, and new pressure. This wasn't a policy debate anymore. It was an operational crisis. Third-party sellers who make up over half of everything sold on Amazon began raising red flags. Margins evaporated. Prices climbed. Delivery times dragged. Customer choice shrinking. Yet Amazon tried to stay cool. CEO Andy Jassy told investors demand was strong and prices hadn't risen significantly, but analysts disagreed. Because behind the product listings and prime guarantees, the logistics machine was buckling. In April, the White House eliminated the de minimis loophole, a technical rule that had allowed low-cost packages from China to enter the U.S. duty-free. This was a major blow to Amazon's budget-focused platform, Amazon Haul, designed to compete with rising stars like Shein and Temu. With every cheap item now taxed, Haul's model began to crumble. At one point, Amazon floated a controversial solution, adding the actual tariff cost to product listings. Why? Transparency. But when word got out, the backlash was swift. The White House accused Amazon of politicizing trade. President Trump personally called Bezos. 2 days later, Amazon killed the plan. Still, the damage was done. Amazon's stock dipped. Sellers panicked. Customers took notice. And the trade war wasn't just a line item anymore. It was hitting shopping carts. Inside Amazon, logistics teams scrambled. They explored everything. Bonded warehouses, alternate ports, mid-ocean freight swaps to reroute shipments before they reached U.S. shores. Some sellers tried routing through Canada, using fulfillment centers in Ontario and British Columbia to re-enter the U.S. under lower values legal, but risky. Others tried moving manufacturing away from China to Vietnam, India, Mexico. But here's the hard truth. Many Chinese manufacturers simply can't be replaced. Their combination of cost, quality, and speed remains unmatched. And so Amazon and its sellers faced a hard choice. Raise prices, absorb the losses, or abandon product lines altogether. Would you stay in a market that punishes you for every shipment? Thousands of Chinese-based merchants are saying no, quietly exiting Amazon US and pivoting to friendlier shores. Canada, Germany, the UK. What does this mean for US customers? Fewer choices, higher prices, slower restocks, and the trend is accelerating. The tariff burden on Amazon's network? Over $13 billion. And counting. That includes import costs, warehouse adjustments, voided contracts, and inflation that trickles down to you, the shopper. Even Amazon can't absorb this forever. In February, both Amazon and Walmart quietly revised their earnings forecasts and for the first time, directly cited rising import costs. Investors noticed. Sellers noticed. Now customers are noticing too. Meanwhile, the political battle continues. In May, the U.S. Court of International Trade ruled that Trump's tariffs may have overstepped constitutional bounds, that only Congress can impose such sweeping trade measures. But just weeks later, a federal appeals court paused that ruling. For now, the tariffs stay. Washington sends mixed signals. One moment, there's talk of a deal with China, one that could lower tariffs from 145% to 55%. But that deal? Not signed, not official, not certain. So where does this leave Amazon? In limbo. Their pre-stocked goods are running out. Their backup plans are stretched thin. Their sellers are squeezed to the edge. And the ones hit hardest? Not Amazon, but the small businesses, the garage startups, the local sellers, the ones without global warehouses, without customs lawyers, without the leverage to negotiate. They have products, they have delivery dates. But now both are under threat. And Amazon? It's quietly shifting, pulling back from low-margin categories, pausing new vendor accounts, halting investments in fragile product lines, even disbanding teams tied too closely to global supply chains. This is what economic fallout looks like. Not a crash, a slow bleed, inane, silent, systemic, strategic. So here's the question. Is this a temporary adjustment or the beginning of a new normal in global commerce? Will tariffs continue to shape the future of retail? Or will companies and countries find a new way to trade? We'll be watching. And so should you. If this gave you a new perspective, like, share, and subscribe for more deep dive analysis into how global policies affect your everyday world. Because this story, it's far from over.